Welcome back, disc golf fans, to the 2024 Chess.com Invitational presented by Discraft. This is the first stop in the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Make sure you head over to the Disc Golf Network for all the live coverage for all these events this year. So my name is Chris German. We have Nathan Johnson. We are subbing in for Andrew Fish and Nathan Queen. So for all of our fans, don't worry. You'll have Fish and Queen commentary for the rest of the season. But until then, we'll be calling the shots as we saw an awesome front nine. A lot of birdies from our card, I would say, overall. A couple bogeys as well, though.
Yeah, really impressive across the board for all four players to be under par through this really treacherous front nine. We'll see if they're able to keep it up the rest of the way.
So we take a quick look at the scores coming through with us being chase card coverage. Always important to see anyone that would be making a move. So we're going to move right into hole 10.
Yeah, hole 10, par 3, 341 feet, super tight tunnel off the tee, slightly downhill for most of the flight, and then you have this uphill slope at the very end. And of course, as is a common theme on this course, the basket placed precariously on the side of the hill.
Ooh, Isaac just missing that one branch. Skipping pretty far, maybe edge of circle 2, unless it did get caught up.
Yeah, most likely a layup.
Yeah, as the theme that we saw in round 1, or front nine, I should say, is just gusty winds, really making the disc move. Maybe these players changing up the type of disc they're even going to throw from what they maybe practiced with, just to make sure they can keep it in bounds and progress down the fairway.
Yeah, pretty much every single hole on this course is, as Chris with a bit of a yank there. It's going to be a tough scramble. Pretty much every hole on this course is super exposed to the wind. The trees don't really do a very good job of blocking any of it. The only two holes we'll see, 13 and 14 coming up, might be a little bit of a reprieve. But other than that, super gusty, super unpredictable. And yeah, just kind of throwing your discs around as Gannon catches a tree about halfway down the fairway. See what kind of scramble he's looking at here.
Needs to slow down, and it does not, as that's going to push, looks like circle 2 for him. With that slope behind the basket, that is a tough putt. Start your back nine.
Yeah, going to be an interesting decision to see what Gannon does there. Even Chris, this is going to be right around circle's edge as well with a big slope behind, so a couple of important decisions coming up. Looks like Gannon's going for this one. Maybe a half go.
Chris finding metal. It's not the first time we saw him find metal from circle 2 with a slope behind the basket. We'll see if he can connect as this round progresses.
Yeah, some struggles from the card on this one. Fourth easiest hole on the course, or actually, no, sorry. Surprise. Fourth hardest hole? Really? Hole 10. Wow, okay, I'm actually surprised. This hole feels like one of the more gettable holes if you hit the line, but I guess with the combo of the wind and that tight fairway, field struggled on that one. As we head into hole 11, par 4, 491 feet. Quite a bit of elevation on the second half of this hole that you're going to see now. The tee shot is very important. Put yourself in the right placement, very similar to hole 3 in that sense. Not similar into hole 3, there's about 12 different lines you could take off the tee depending on what you like to throw. Isaac going to opt for the hyzer line, throws it really well, finds himself in the fairway. We might see some forehands, we might see some turnovers. It's kind of a dealer's choice here, as you can see. A lot of options.
It always blows my mind that just being in Florida and then seeing all this elevation change and these big slopes and big hills. What was formerly known as the Canyon, the Olympus Disc Golf Course, is truly a remarkable property, and very excited to see it on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah, very great property, very fun course to play. I believe this was an abandoned quarry, is what the land used to be, which is kind of the reason for a lot of that elevation. But you're right, not common for Florida golf to see the low ceilings. Those are common, but the elevation definitely not.
Chris, very fortunate you didn't find the OB there with that kick to the right. Did open up the fairway for him, though, to get a little aggressive on a second shot.
Yeah, it looks like it faded a bit off to the left. Not ideal. Gannon kind of just pitching up here. This is another hole. If you're not in the landing zone, especially if you're short of the landing zone, you can't really bite off much more than kind of just a pitch back into the fairway. And Isaac here, deep of the landing zone, makes this upshot pretty technical. Catches some backside trees, might have a tricky putt. We'll see.
Ooh. Good bid from Barela. Trying to ring it up for eagle.
Yeah, great speed control on that, though. Only goes about 15, 20 feet long. It's a really nice tool to have. That kind of nice floaty putter shot into the green.
Gannon just outside circle 2. Just a layup from him.
Yeah, on the elevated basket going downhill, probably not worth it. Isaac, though, just inside the circle 1, you gotta give a chance to, but just a bit high. It's a surprising miss.
Good par save from Chris after finding an early tree. Barela 5 down.
It's on
Kinda
a heater.
Sneaking. Yeah, I was about to say, kind of sneaking a really, really good round together.
Yeah, very good round so far. The last couple holes, a lot can happen though, so we'll see if he is able to hold it together. Jumping into hole 12, 583 feet, probably 60 feet of elevation drop on this par 3. If you have the power sidearm, that is the play, something that just pushes straight and dumps to the right. If not, it's a really technical late flipping backhand that we're probably going to see Isaac execute, or at least attempt to execute. But AB, if anybody's got the power sidearm to pull this hole off, it's him. This is looking pretty nice. Yeah, finds himself inside the circle.
Great shot from him. So Isaac's going to show us that backhand turnover.
This is all about disc selection, and on a day that's as windy as this day was, it's hard to really trust anything in your bag, but looks like he does a pretty good job of it, honestly. Ending out in circle 2 is kind of the best case scenario for that backhand. I think this is early.
Yeah. Looks like he got caught up, though. Pushes him out into the open.
Yeah, the thing that makes the backhand so tough is there's a late tree on the right-hand side, probably 400 feet away, maybe 380 feet away from the tee pad. So you really have to get your disc going straight for 400 plus feet before it starts to move to the right. And to do that with a backhand is just very difficult, especially at this distance. So Gannon pushes that forehand a little too straight. Pretty common result. This is a tough birdie to get.
Yeah, we'll see if those trees you were talking about come into play. Looks like he's pretty open. A little further, though, he could have been in some real trouble.
Yep, just a pitch up. 69% of the field taking par on this hole, so not losing. Ooh, Isaac, decent bid there, but yeah, not losing too many strokes to the field.
Dead center for Barela. Add another birdie to the card. Sitting at 6 under. Putter's looking good.
Yeah, the kid is, and this is with 2 inside the circle misses for birdie. We have to remember, keep that in mind.
Want to play chess but don't know how to get started? Try chess.com. Play for free against someone at your level or challenge one of our friendly computer bots. Trying to improve your chess? Learn the Queen's Gambit and other openings with guided interactive lessons. Like chess but don't want the pressure of playing games? Chess.com has hundreds of thousands of fun puzzles to help you relax and sharpen your mind. Play your friends, make new ones around the world, follow the latest games, and more. Sign up and play for free at chess.com today.
Jumping into hole 13, the second easiest hole on the course is a 468-foot par 4. You're going to see most players just throw a nice left-to-right moving shot off the tee, whether that's a forehand or a backhand turnover. You might see some folks try to get aggressive with either a roller or a flexing backhand that could maybe get you into circle 2 for an eagle look, but it's a pretty tight fairway, so this kind of chip up into the landing zone is a pretty common play.
Isaac gets caught up late in the flight. Distance is not too much here, so should be no problem getting up and down as long as he has a good line to the basket.
Yeah, being over there on the left side where he is definitely makes things trickier. If the miss here is right, because that's kind of the biggest gap into the green, but there are a decent number of smaller gaps over there on the left-hand side of the fairway as well.
Gannon kind of flaring out on the edge of the rough.
Ooh, a unicorn. Wow. Don't see an Isaac Robinson forehand every day. That one worked out pretty well, though.
Yeah, you got a little tree love, too. AB catching early. It's probably going to take birdie out of the equation for him.
Yeah, there's pretty much no clean up shots on this hole. Like, even if you throw... Gannon's tee shot is pretty much as good as you can throw the forehand to put him on that little slope. And it's still a very technical little turnover sidearm into the green. A tough shape to pull off. So this is a very well-designed hole. For only being a 468-foot par 4, it is... it's not automatic.
Chris probably leaving a little bit of meat there. Probably circles edge. Good up and down for AB as Isaac gives it a good bid. This is the type of hole you can do that. Not really any danger behind the basket.
Yeah, one of the few holes on this course that you can just run your longer putts without much worry. Although that might be a little tricky footing there for Chris on the side of the hill. But he's a pro.
Yeah, the two-time major winner, Chris Dickerson. Excited to see him this season. See if he can rattle off another major. Shows up when it matters most.
Just one
Smooth
birdie on the
there
card.
for Gannon. Yeah.
A little surprising, but nonetheless, no harm, no foul. As we head into hole 14, 764-foot par 4. You're looking to throw something moving right to left through this gap. Depending on where you land, you're going to have a couple of options. You might see some people go flex forehand. You might see some people go turnover backhand. You might see some people go roller. It's kind of, depends on where your tee shot lands with what you're going to make work. But goal number 1 is hit this gap.
How much does that little cliff come into play for you as a player? Like, you're just trying to get it over that? Well,
Yeah,
obviously you're trying to get it over that, but like, does that come into play like as you're up on the tee throwing? Like,
Not really. I mean, it's slightly uphill, so you have to, keep it in the back of your mind, but it's only about 280 feet away. So it's not, most of these guys can throw well past it, as you're seeing they're doing. The thing that comes more into play is there's a little ditch about in the perfect spot in the fairway where almost every drive lands. So you're going to see some of these guys might have to go to a standstill on their second shots if they do land in that ditch and have a weird kind of side slope that they have to deal with.
Yeah, it looks like the ceiling's a little higher than I thought. I thought the illusion of the trees made it feel like there was a much smaller gap they had to hit there. But
yeah, so AB pushed his drive a little too straight. He kind of found the backside of this fairway. Not really going to be able to get up and down, just kind of pitching out back to the fairway. Should be able to get a pretty easy par from there.
Isaac putting himself about 35, 40 long or 45 out.
Yeah, you see, Chris, that last step, just a little bit downhill, kind of tricky footing on this upshot. And this upshot from that ditch is probably about 380. So definitely not a short shot by any means. Still got to put some juice on it. Nice forehand here from Gannon, though.
Well, could be a little tricky for his par save. See how much that tree has to reach out, but should be able to get his 4.
Yeah, both of these trees on either side of the basket can really make your putting tricky if you leak off to either side. They are quite low to the ground and quite grabby, I will say. So your upshots, especially if you're trying to get up and down for par, you got to be intentional about where you're placing that upshot.
No danger for Barela. He's able to get his par. Keeps the clean scorecard. We're getting close to the end of the round. A feat not a lot of people have been able to do here.
Yeah, I would be very impressed if we saw any bogey-free rounds all weekend, especially in this wind. If he can keep it up, that would be quite a feat. Jumping into the only par 5 on the course, hole 15, 934 feet. Super downhill tee shot. You can literally throw any disc in your bag on the tee shot depending on how aggressive you want to get off the tee. Eagle is definitely in play for those that want to try to bite off a little bit more. And then uphill the last third of the fairway into a green with yet another elevated basket just for fun.
Yeah, the big arms here, I would say Eagle definitely comes into play with a good first shot.
It's a nice shot from Gannon. I think that got a little bit of love on the right side of the fairway to keep him in the middle. This looks nice as well.
Nice drift there from Isaac. Put himself right in the middle.
Yeah, these are impressive tee shots. This downhill tee shot is, one, very fun to throw, but 2, is very tough to keep in the middle, especially if you're going to disc up and throw any sort of driver. It's hard to get the disc pushing straight for that long. Most of the time, you're going to see something like this happen, right? If you're throwing a fast disc, it wants to fade out at the end, and then that's where you can get into trouble on this fairway, which is just so straight.
Probably about 150, 200 feet left there for Isaac. too much stability out of Gannon's. I didn't know if he was actually going for the basket, but he'll be over there with Isaac.
Yeah, they're both in that range where I think they could maybe have gotten like a long circle 2 putt on this one. But at the same time, there is, I didn't mention it during the flyover, but there is OB on the right side of the fairway on the last kind of quarter of the flight. So, you know, if they did try to go a little flippier, maybe a little more aggressive, it kind of brings that OB into play. And with their arm speed, it's such a straightforward birdie that I'm thinking round 1, these guys are content to play for the easy 4.
Yeah, as AB does find that circle 2 look, he puts together a great second shot. He should have a good chance for eagle.
And a really nice scramble from Chris to give himself a birdie putt after that less than ideal drive is very impressive. Not an easy scramble on this hole at all. Looks like we are going to have ourselves a star frame here. It's worth shouting out. We did have 4 eagles on this hole on Friday. Aaron Gossage, Matty O, Simon Lazat, and Thomas Gilbert. 4 guys that can throw very far. But nicely done by our chase card here, picking up the star frame.
Yeah. Speaking of Aaron Gossage, let's see that eagle that he threw.
Oh, spoiler alert. I'm sorry, Chris. I got ahead of myself.
Dude, this tournament's been out for over a week, so if you're spoiled at this point, you must, I don't even know.
Been living under a rock, per se.
Yeah. Must have gotten really aggressive and leaked a little to the right. A little bit of a wind raise, yeah.
Wow. That thing still had some heat left on it, caught kind of up in the sawgrass.
Gossage doing what he does best, throw really far. Taking strokes on the rest of the field. He's putting together a pretty solid round at 3 under.
Jumping into hole 16, 737-foot par 4. We've seen a couple guys on those other chase cards throw this tee shot already, a little turnover or forehand into the landing zone, and then typically a flex forehand into this green. Very cool hole, slightly downhill on this tee shot as well. You got OB along the entire right side. It's very tricky too, playing with a headwind, so stability, super important, trying to get that angle right to keep yourself in the fairway. Wow.
Great looking shape there from Barela.
Yeah, being able to trust the distance and commitment to your shot where it can come out at the very end and get you all the way to that hill is really a luxury on this hole. See a lot of players in the field kind of just playing the turnover onto the road and then making it work from there. But these guys with top level distance can really rip on an overstable disc on Annie and get that full flex out of it to get themselves all the way to the gap. That's kind of what Chris is going for here, but just doesn't quite turn it enough. And that is a very tough scramble from in those trees.
So Isaac kind of flirted with the OB a little bit there. He was getting pretty close, but cut off his angle a little bit. Makes it a much more challenging second shot for him to really get the disc going left to right that much.
Yeah. If Isaac Robinson is throwing a forehand, you know that it is a tough angle. A little burned over there from AB, kind of leaves him out in circle 2 land.
And Chris getting caught up a little early as well.
Wow. What a drive from Gannon to be able to just have this little chip forehand into the green. Still blind, as you can see by him sprinting to the immediately to the left after his shot, but very straightforward, not much in the way, so makes quick work of that. Ooh.
Felt like a run there from Chris, the way he was throwing that.
Yeah, got a little spicy there. Maybe a little half bid. Same thing from Anthony.
So Chris with the bogey. Must have missed a shot there.
Yeah, I think he had to pitch out after that tee shot, so unable to get up and down. Hole 16, tricky hole, kind of played in the middle of the pack right around par, but pretty common result. Couple pars, 1 birdie, 1 bogey for the card.
Gannon, 4 in a row now.
Looking to finish strong here. Tough hole to keep that going on. Hole 17, one of the trickier holes on the course. A blind tee shot, looking to get over this OB pond onto this fairway. And then you have a nice tunnel shot into the green with OB along the entire left side. Very interesting hole. Kind of just have to throw your shot and then wait for the spotter to tell you if it was any good or not.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, it really comes down to the end of the round, whether you can keep a clean scorecard. And hole 17 and 18 is such a crazy way to finish here. 2 very, very technical and challenging holes. After playing a really challenging and tough round, they really keep it going the entire time, which with the Pro Tour nowadays is kind of what you got to do to create some scoring separation.
Yeah. Yeah, and the great thing about the 17 and 18 in particular is they're not like just super hard holes, right? Like on both of them, over a quarter of the field is getting birdie, but also like near half the field is taking a bogey or worse. So it really has that score separation to where it's there if you got it, like AB is showing us with 2 great shots, but also big numbers can come in really quick if you're off.
Yeah, I love to see holes that are split in thirds like this. This hole pretty close to a third birdies, third pars, and a third of bogeys or worse. 2 of our members do pretty good there.
Yeah, Gannon just pushed that tee shot a little too long, finds the backside of the fairway. It looks like he did stay in bounds, fortunately, but still just kind of left with a pitch out, which is a tough break.
Isaac did not like that right out of the hand. He's going to find red. It's going to be a bogey at best. Chris just inside the circle, trying to get some green on his scorecard. He does just that, putting him at 1 under. So he's been hovering around even almost the entire round. Whereas with the field, even is about a 10-20 rated round. So very challenging course here.
Yeah, especially with this win today. Anything under par is going to keep you in the mix. Might not put you on the lead card, but definitely puts you in good position to still be able to grab a top 10 finish, which nowadays on the Pro Tour is a pretty impressive accomplishment.
Isaac's round basically getting squandered just like that, and that's kind of how 17 and 18 feel here. You can be putting together a really good round, and then here comes these 2 holes where you can rack up some pretty big numbers pretty quick.
Yeah, AB still bogey free, 8 under par through 17 holes is just mind blowing. Just 1 more hole to finish out as we take a look at it. The daunting, the impressive, the awe-inspiring hole 18. Insane tee shot downhill into this gully valley, you could call it. You can either throw the straight backhand or you can throw a forehand or backhand turnover onto the right side of the fairway and then back uphill into the island green. It's a really great finishing hole. Can't wait to watch this tournament get decided on it on Sunday.
This is pushing a little far left, I think. Yeah, that's going to be OB for Barela. It's going to be a very, very tough par save from there. I think we could probably kiss that perfect scorecard away.
It'll depend. It'll depend if he crosses. So if he never crosses inbounds, he goes to the drop zone, which is a doable up and down for guys like him with big arms. If he did cross inbounds, though, honestly, it could put him in a worse spot than where the drop zone would put him, which is kind of an unfortunate. Oh, Gannon just barely
shot from Gannon.
Bounce.
That was awesome. That's going to be such a great spot to be.
Yeah, Gannon will just have a nice little chip forehand into the green from there. Isaac, I think this is pushing too far.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so they're saying AB crossed inbounds, so he has to play from where he was last in, which unfortunately is farther than the drop zone is. Probably leaving him somewhere in the 350 range uphill into that green. And in this wind, that's a near impossible shot, like you said, Chris.
Yeah, and with the rain starting to come down on these guys right on the final hole, I mean, what timing. So you could see the sky in the background. Oh, no.
No.
The wheels are falling off for the card here on the final hole.
Yeah, the conditions just got so bad so soon. I mean, this is textbook Florida weather, right? But for these guys, just, yeah, really unfortunate timing to just come at the very end of the round for these last two cards. But Gannon just unfazed, throws two great shots on the 18th.
The rain's coming. AB is not going to find it. He's looking at a double bogey. It's going to bring him back to 6. As I do want to give a shout out to Gavin Rathbun. We talked about someone who had a bogey-free round. He shot 5 under. Bogey-free. So good on you, bud. Great round.
Isaac Robinson, also we got to give a shout out. On theme with the chessboard shirt for the chess.com Invitational. I mean, we haven't mentioned it until now, but well done.
Gannon, great, strong finish for him. Really getting a lot of those birdies there at the end of the round. AB giving a couple back, but still hit that 6 under mark, which is in the lead at this point. So still a very impressive round from him.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be kicking himself, but 6 under, as we're about to see and hear in a second, that's getting the job done.
So Olympus shows its teeth. Plenty of bogeys, some birdies, and some pars. A lot of different scores out here, and that's what we like to see. Great scoring separation. Wysocki, Barela, Nicolas, Joseph, all in the lead. But Gannon, Gavin, Mason, and Kyle, looking at them for round 2 for our chase card coverage. Plenty of people still in the move for moving day. It's very exciting. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. This is Chris and Nathan bringing it out here. We'll see you on the next one.